My overall thoughts on the game, it really isn't that bad. I think it's getting way more hate than it deserves, although I do understand. It failed expectations. The founders of the studio left before the game even came out. Is this because they knew it was about to flop? Probably. This game got delayed, I believe, more than once and has been in the works since Arkham Origins. Refer to the post-credits in that game where Amanda Waller reaches out to Deathstroke. In my opinion, I think this game got a lot more corporate. What do I mean? Relying on live service, microtransactions like stupid-ass Luthor coins and skins that do look really good. But tell me why I paid $100 for Deluxe Edition, and while the skins I paid for were missing, the Luthor coins and skins behind a paywall were ready to go. This leaves me wondering, what is this game really about? You know, money? I think developers overestimate the IPs they own and think people will blindly spend money on microtransactions for a game that ranges between $70 and $100. This is not Fortnite or Warzone, which both are free. This game should be priced at around $39.99 at the most and $50 for a deluxe at the most. It is not worth the $100 I paid for, but I did have fun. I had fun playing the game, but I did go in with low expectations. I think this game is 10 times better than Gotham Knights and has a lot more going for it than the Avengers game did. But I'm gonna cook real quick, okay? I'm gonna go through the basics and then we're gonna hit some specific points about this game that I'd like to talk about. Okay, so gameplay. I think the gameplay is nothing groundbreaking. I did not expect anything crazy. I mained Deadshot and I liked his jetpack and gun mechanics. I like that they have their own methods of transportation, and I thought it was really cool for them to take the gear from the Hall of Justice. I thought that was a very good idea, as opposed to Gotham Knights, where it just felt super slow and would be better off if they all had grapple hooks and capes. The UI was way too much. I had to severely change my interface settings, and I recommend everyone do the same. It makes the game a lot more bearable and less like some mobile game. The gameplay as a whole, though, was just fine. I think the gameplay in a game like this has a lot to do with the playable characters. For example, this game is a lot like Avengers, and in that game, as dog shit as it turned out to be, every character felt very different from one another. You really had to play in a different style when switching between Iron Man and Captain America, we'll say. In this game though, there is not that much of a difference. You have to rely on your guns the whole game, and every character has guns. So you are really just choosing between traversal and special abilities, which are also very limited in this game. The skill tree in this game isn't really a skill tree at all, and more of a leveling up your character in a parallel way where you don't have much of a choice, which is fine. But I think that this game could have benefited from some room for creativity on the player's end. I think this game would have benefited a lot from having way better melee mechanics, just so that way you can have one other way of playing. Really, this game, every single fight is the same. Every fight besides the boss fights, obviously, is the same. Anyone that saw my Suicide Squad Kill Rocksteady video knows I called this shit before the beta. I said that the boss fights would be dope, that everything in between would be repetitive as fuck, and that is very true with this game. One way this could have been avoided is by having some character-specific moments within the story, where, for example, Deadshot has to snipe Amanda Waller. I use her as an example because she is the most annoying character I think I've ever seen. But let's say the mission is to kill her. This one mission can go as usual, but at the end, Deadshot has to snipe her from a distance, right? This would leave 3 characters spectating the one player as Deadshot take on this mini mission within the mission. Or if no one is playing as Deadshot, someone will have to take that spot just for this specific part. In my head, this mini mission has more nuance than just taking a shot, but the idea is that there can be something memorable about any of the missions. I could not tell you what any of the missions were about. I don't remember any differences between them, besides what they had to do with the story at the time. Honestly, we kind of do the same shit every single mission. Graphics. This is where the game deserves some credit. I thought the graphics were good. A lot of people think otherwise, but nah, the graphics are good for the type of game it is. It is an open world online game, and yes, even GTA Online, for example, looks better than this. But I have to kind of meet in the middle with where my expectations were for this game, to be honest. If we're looking at the grand scheme of things, yeah, maybe this is not up to par with a lot of other studios, but anywho, the cinematics looked great in my opinion. I think the character animations are great and they visually look good to me. The funny thing is, we still have yet to beat Arkham Knight graphics, and I think that's crazy. I mean, go back and play that game and it blows my mind how good that game looks compared to the dog shit we get a decade later. And I'm not only referring to this game. I thought all the character designs looked great. The main 4, the League, and most of the things in between. The world around the characters is very detailed. I think Metropolis looks really good, again, for what it is. It is not a Spider-Man 2 graphics, but I did not expect that. Again, the UI was not fun. For example, whenever you're low on shield, it just gets way too messy. And again, I recommend everyone to change their interface settings because of these kind of things. The enemies, the rendering looked good, but in game, it's just so messy. I personally am not a fan of these games that put colors all over the enemies. For example, when they have status afflicted on them, it just starts to look so cartoony and goofy. I think this game would have benefited heavily from being more toned down to earth like the Arkham games. I don't think all this colorful expression of everything happening is necessary. That is a weird way to put it, but for example, even something as simple as ammo on the ground being orange and the shield being blue and I'm all red because I'm low health and the edges of my screen are red and just so much going on. I think it could be toned down a lot. Too much, too cartoony and wacky in my opinion. The story. So overview. These characters are locked in Arkham Asylum and they are removed to go fight Brainiac. They are the last hope. I can go with that. Justice League is compromised and we are the only ones that can kill them. Okay, quite the sell, and it sold me. I thought it was a great idea. It's not the first evil superhero story we have seen and definitely not the best, but it is a good premise for a video game. I am impressed that we actually got to kill all of them. See, the question to me was always how, especially Superman, right? Like, how are we gonna kill him? Well, in this game, we just shoot him up. So we can go shoot up aliens to go acquire some shit that is invisible to us. We just know it's attached to our guns, right? And most of the time it's used in the counter mechanic that the game uses. That's some lame ass, boring ass, lazy ass shit right there. I'm not a game developer. I'm not going to sit here and say I would make it better. But let's say the Batman scene, or excuse me, the Batman boss fight. And yes, we're gonna talk about that whole situation in its own time. But yeah, in the first part, each player has to individually do something with the fear toxins while everyone else watches. Not a bad start, but what happens right after? We have to just shoot up a huge fake Batman. Dodge, shoot, jump, shoot. That's some bullshit. They had it right in the beginning of the game when Batman is hunting you down individually and taking you down one by one. That's the best part of this game, to be honest. That was the best part. Why not incorporate more of that in the actual boss fight? What I would have done is have the actual fight start off a lot like the mission where he's stalking you, but then get to a point where you force his hand to come down and fight you. At that point, sure, it's Batman. Make it a dodge and shoot, but make it so hard that you have to try like 5 times. Make it to where it's dark. You still have the flashlight, but you're in a situation where you can see him if you flash the light on him, but he's so fast that he's just whooping everyone's ass. Or let's say he's whooping someone's ass with a combo, and by the time you flash your light at him, he's gone and already looking to whoop the next player's ass. Just something like that, rather than a stupid ass, big ass Batman monster. That is some bullshit. Super disappointing. Me and my friend played on the highest difficulty and did not have to retry a single boss fight once. As for the other boss fights, I thought they were okay. The Flash has 2 moves. I saw that in another review and I agree. Green Lantern I thought was pretty good. The Superman, apart from the just shooting him, it was okay. He was pretty strong and it took a lot to bring him down. So I'll give the game that. And then, of course, the Brainiac fight, which was the most disappointing shit I've ever seen in my life. I mean, does that even count as his own boss fight? And I swear to God, man, they better have some DLC where they change that up. I mean, that is the laziest shit I have ever seen. It's literally just the Flash. And you're trying to act like it's a smart idea, like, oh shit, he saved Flash's body, he's gonna use it. Fuck that. That is I don't want to say it, boy, but that is dumb. But as a whole, I thought the story was just fine and the cinematics were great. The dynamic between the characters was one thing I thought was very good. They pretty much turned the Suicide Squad into the Guardians of the Galaxy, okay? Let's say Deadshot is Star-Lord. All I know is King Shark is a complete copy of Drax, and the other two can be whoever, whatever, but it definitely felt like a Guardians dynamic. I don't think it was necessary to make them all goofy and try to be funny and shit. I mean, at least have Deadshot be a hard ass, almost like a Bruce Wayne Batman, just to have some competing personalities. But quite frankly, they are all the same in a way. One character I could not stand though was Amanda Waller, like I said before. Sure, that's just her character to be a stern-faced, raging bitch, but is it really necessary to have her scream every single word when she speaks? I understand the idea of creating a character that you are supposed to hate. Okay, that makes sense, but usually there's a payoff where you get to maybe kill that person. But in this game, it's just non-stop nagging and bitching and screaming from this character. She can be composed, badass, almost like a Nick Fury. But seriously, her just screaming and threatening to kill them every single time she talks is just boring. Okay, so that's the end of the on the record type shit. We went through just the basics, but now I kind of just want to be transparent and share my overall thoughts on specific things. So this game takes place in the Arkham universe. This is a big problem, but let me start here. The world building for this specific game is good. What do I mean by this? This does take place in the Arkham universe. It is years after Arkham Knight, entering the Hall of Justice and being able to interact with the other holograms and get to see them when they're not evil. Being able to see the Justice League when they're not evil. Because if you remember in Arkham games, there were always Easter eggs for Superman and the Flash, at least. You know, maybe more. Off the top of my head, I remember those two. Fly to Metropolis was the poster they had. And I always would think, man, I wonder how Superman is in this universe. I wonder how he looks. Does he know Batman? Yada, yada. So I enjoyed being introduced to the Arkham version of these characters. Here's the thing. If they did not say this was in the Arkham universe, you wouldn't know and you would be just fine. So why is this in the Arkham universe? In my opinion, it was just for marketing purposes. Simple as that. Just a way to sell the game. And that's fine because again, I always wanted that. But man, what a way to just shit on those games. The thing is, we were never gonna get another Arkham Batman game anyway. So maybe they just said fuck it. But to have him go out like a bitch, and you know what? Here's my idea. He should have been the Wonder Woman of this game. What do I mean by this? In this game, Wonder Woman, she's fully aware of what's going on. She's trying to stop the League and she gets killed by Superman. By the way, that fight scene was really cool. I thought that whole scene, that whole cinematic was dope. Batman could have really benefited from being in that position and having an honorable death just like Wonder Woman did. You know, it's nice to have a soup on that team. What I mean is it's nice to have Wonder Woman being a superhuman not be compromised, right? Because having Batman on our team is almost no different than everybody else on the team. But this whole game and universe is built off his back. So he really had to go out good, man. If he was gonna go out, it had to be good. Maybe have him become compromised towards the end and then we have to kill him and make it an emotional thing. Make it like something like, damn, I have to kill this character. I love these games. I love the Arkham games. And me killing him right now is like a symbol that these games are dead with him. Like the Arkham games die with him. You know, look, bro, I'm obviously just a YouTuber. I don't have all the answers, but I feel like that would be way better than what they gave us. Honestly, at this point, anything is probably better. And people hate what happened to Batman. Me personally, man, I just don't care. I do to an extent, but I don't care enough to hate the game because of it or get mad at how they did it. I was just very surprised. I was just surprised that no one stopped them and they thought, yeah, we're gonna put this out and people are gonna fuck with this. It's funny because it reminds me of the Star Wars trilogy after episode 6, not the prequels, but literally just in the order of the episodes. Those shit on the lore of Star Wars, right? And it's like, you know, we still have those old movies. People always say, oh, you could still go watch them. And yeah, we can still go watch the Batman or play the Batman Arkham games, but something about it, knowing how it's gonna end or how it's gonna continue, whatever, and knowing that it's dog shit, it doesn't necessarily ruin the games because you can still go play the games and enjoy them for what they are. But it's like, damn, that's really all I can cut. The conclusion I can come to is just, damn, really? Another thing I want to address is the expectations of this game. I had someone in my comment section mention that seeing as how this is made by the same people and is in the same universe, people may have been expecting an Arkham game and that this is a Suicide Squad game and this is how a Suicide Squad game would look or should look. I don't think that is the problem. I think we kind of knew what we were getting by the gameplay trailers and any footage that was released before the game came out. Me personally, I knew what was coming. I made a video about it, but still, I was pretty surprised. You know, time passed and I got to play the beta and I had a lot of fun with the beta. They started making big marketing pushes for the game and seemed very confident with the game. I think people would be a lot less aggressive and vocal about how badly they think this game is if the price point for the game was lower, like I had mentioned earlier. I think this game is priced way too high for what you're getting. And I want to make one thing clear, okay? How much it costs to make and market this game is not my problem. I am a consumer. If you cannot make a product to its very best and sell that product for what it's actually worth without losing money, then maybe you just shouldn't make that product at all. That's all I got right now though, boys. I already kind of stopped playing this game. I really just see a game like this as a very long movie for where I got to enjoy the story mode for a weekend, then just come back whenever I feel like it or whenever something new drops. Hey, but thank you for watching and let me know what you think, man. Peace.